Man, I've been feeling unbelievable last few days. I've given it a lot of thought why that is. I think it's about the deadlifts. It's about the little puny 40 kilo deadlifts that I do before every session. It's done something. I don't know what it is. I'm still kind of trying to kind of work it out and analyze. If you think about the deadlift, what is it? It's basically a hip extension exercise which involves the glute and the hamstring. That's basically the gist. That's the meat and potatoes of the movement. And so today I thought, why don't I take that next step further and try and even further isolate those two muscles without kind of fatiguing the rest of me, if you will, because we all know that the deadlifts are really taxing. I still feel like the glutes are the primary kind of movers in hip extension, and that's what's kind of been really helping me with the squat. And so I tried doing some block pulls, as you guys can see here. I tried to put some block pulls in because I thought, okay, let's really load the glutes in that kind of upper half of hip extension. The first few sets kind of leading up to this 90 kilo, I thought that kind of I was going to be, onto something. But then as the sets kind of went on, I started feeling my lower back more and more and more. And it got to a point where I was really not really feeling the glutes at all, or the hamstrings. It was all the lower back. So I think that's a fail in terms of that portion of the workout. I'm really not going to continue doing the block pulls because I just feel like my lower back is just copying most of this brunt. So that's kind of one idea that I kind of tested. So yeah, I don't know. I ended up doing 5 sets of 10 with this 90 kilos. And it didn't feel as good as I felt when I went off the floor with a really light weight. I think when you're doing pulling exercises, you need to be very careful in the loading of them, because if you go too heavy, then your lower back starts to kind of cry out and fatigue. So it's a fine balance. You want to hit the glutes and the hamstrings, but you don't want to hit the lower back, because the lower back is just, I don't know about you guys, but that's what causes most of my fatigue and general kind of wear and tear. So anyway, I did that, and I kind of moved on to squats after that. I still kind of felt good. But I felt like a little bit more fatigued than I should have been going up to my main movement, which is the squats. It's all about the glutes. Somehow I want to work out a routine where I isolate the glutes in some sort of fashion where I can load them up effectively without fatiguing the posterior chain too much. But anyway, this is 60 kilos on the bar. Still feel poppy, still feel strong. Been feeling amazing last few days, man. Like I just really want to continue on with this momentum. I want to continue building on. It's kind of, these are rare kind of moments that I've had in the last sort of 400 odd days. And when I get into these moments, I just want to analyze exactly what I'm doing and kind of like precipitate what's causing me to feel this good. And honestly, I think it's the deadlifts. It's the light deadlifts that I do before everything. It's amazing. 100 kilos feels smooth. Because of this extended kind of warm-ups that I've been doing the last few days, I've kind of cut down some of the reps, the warm-up sets in the squats. And I'm kind of saving myself for this kind of stuff. So 140 kilos on the bar here. I wanted to do it for 1, but I thought let's push here. So I did 140 for a set of 10. I probably could have done a little bit more if I really pushed myself really hard. I guess my general physical preparedness, my fitness, if you will, was the limiting factor here. Felt my legs burning, felt my lungs burning a little bit. But yeah, I'm a big fan of kind of this 10 to 20 rep range. Even for squats, it's just there's nothing like it. It just really adds, muscular tension. It adds muscle on. Really kind of makes you force your core into a super hard contraction in those later reps. I'm a big fan. You can't do this too often because it's they take a few more points in recovery than when you do singles, obviously. But yeah, I'm a big fan of 10 to 12 rep range. After this, I did 160, then 180. Both kind of moved really well. But at this point, the interesting thing was, at this point, my quads actually started fatiguing. Even though I did all this stuff for my glutes, it was the quads that were kind of like fatiguing towards the end of that 140 times 10. And so in here, this 160 kilo squat, I felt my quads kind of just a bit fluffy, if you will. They kind of just felt fatigued. So I just thought, all right, let's put 180 on, see how that moves, and we'll take it from there. Yeah, it moved pretty well. If you just really concentrate now on how I come out of the hole, I don't know whether you guys have kind of noticed this, but my sticking point kind of halfway up, around 90 degree of my knee, seems to kind of has completely kind of improved. It's not so sticky, and I don't really slow down in this moment as much as I used to in the past. That's all got to do with glutes, I think. And then I finished off with a bit of leg extensions. I feel like quads still have to be trained. I feel like quads are important. The trick with quad work, direct work, is that if you do too much of it, you risk of training the rectus femoris too much. Now, out of the 4 quads, the rectus femoris is also a hip flexor as well as a knee extensor. So if you get that muscle too tight, then you will kind of go into anterior pelvic tilt. And if you go into too much of an anterior pelvic tilt, you will have trouble activating the glutes, because the glutes need posterior pelvic tilt in order to contract completely. So it's a bit of a fine balance. But anyway, I'm hitting this movement twice a week. I'm doing glute movements every single day, basically. So I think I've got the balance right. But if you are anteriorly pelvically tilted, what a mouthful, be very, very careful about hitting your quads too often, because you're going to completely turn off your glutes. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow I can do a little bit better. All right, guys, catch you.